All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Street Tales. We've got deputy, former deputy, retired deputy slash PTA president slash teacher, elementary school teacher slash fourth grade albatross. Mo, slide in, breaking up fourth graders fighting.
It's what we do. It's what we do.
That's what we
Do
do
all
up
the
in this
things.
Can I also say that I listened to the most recent episode of 56
Yes.
and so I fully acknowledge that, and I checked the box that it's not for 18 or under, but in the first 15 seconds I said fuck, shit, and ass right off the rip.
That's awesome.
Like the intro was like, what's up, bro? We dealing with these fucking technical difficulties. This shit's fucking ass, and I'm tired of this bullshit. I was like, that's a little hot.
Not for children. You came in hot on that one. I would agree.
I came in hot. It was still good. It was still good, but I just boop right in the rip.
Let's just go on the record though. 56 is a different mindset.
Yeah.
It's two dudes talking about things that get under their skin sometimes, things that that bother them in life, things that make them the men that they are, things that shape why the world is shaping out the way it is. I mean, there's a lot going on in that. So I feel like if you come in a little hot sometimes, it's understood. It's understood.
I did come in hot, and shout out to BJ because old boy is back to midnights, and he hasn't worked midnights in 12 years. I believe I've referenced since the time he abandoned me to school resource, but whatever. We're gonna move on from that. He abandoned me. Literally the next shift I got into a fight with the whole family. We got to talk about that on the true crimes thing. I got to find the report.
You have teased it a couple times and never fully talked about it, and it.
Do you want to just talk about that? I remember the case. I mean, I could just tell you what happened. The problem is I don't remember the aftermath.
No. Do you have the case though to be able to read it through? No,
I don't. It wasn't my case.
Oh, well then, yeah, let's go with it. Let's go.
All right. Well, let's table that. We'll get to that because we want to talk about two other things.
Yes.
That I want to tell two stories. Well, one, let's talk about what we were talking about prior to recording, and it's about when your child, and we were referring to a 5-year-old. We're not going to name names, or anything like that, but your 5-year-old gets punched in the face by two other students, minors, that were fighting, and it got caught up in the crosshairs. And we didn't pregame that, but we both were like, a parent has to take that L.
Yeah.
Because I can't fight your minor child.
No.
Because you know what's funny about that? BJ and I did talk about this. Even if I were to come up and punch your kid, that's a misdemeanor. That's a misdemeanor, by the way. I don't know if you know that. But if you punch your kid, that's a felony because it's child abuse.
Isn't that wild?
All wild, but whatever. We're adults. So
I would charge an adult with child abuse that hit my kid. I don't care if they drop it. I know the person has to be in care, custody, and control and all that stuff. Yeah. I don't care.
But long story short, I've always told my kids, I cannot fight your friends, but their parents gonna have to take the L.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Your child punched my child. They're all minors, so now you pick which one, but one of y'all's taking the L.
Yeah, mom or dad, I don't care.
And God, if you're the boyfriend or the stepdad, I'm sorry, but you got to take that L.
You do. Sorry, bro.
Someone's taking the L, bro.
Somebody has to take it. I cannot hit your kid, but your kid has now injured my child, especially when there's an age disparity. The older kid hits a little kid. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, mom, square up.
All right.
You can try to like block if you want to, or just take it straight to the head. I don't care. However you want to take it.
But again, and we can edit this part out, Mo, if you don't want to put it out there. But you were talking about radio etiquette and those who were not former law enforcement. You know what? Actually, I'll just keep it in that vein. How about that? We'll keep it very general.
Yes.
Getting on the radio, just screaming, I need help, I need help, I need help, and just getting all frantic on the radio. It's like, where are you? What is happening? We don't know what's going on.
Let's not take it out of the law enforcement vein, buddy, because there have been some law enforcement officers.
That's true. I need help. I need help. Where are you? What is happening?
Not even that. Coming on radio.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
What are you?
The only
Who was that?
Actually, there's no excuse for that because you've been trained, or you should be. I've heard, and this is not me, but I've heard video because we all see them. Cops that have been shot or in life or death situations.
Right.
You hear the ones that are just screaming and tell my wife and my like just already like they gave up.
Gave
And I'm
up.
not back. I'm
No.
really trying not to Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah.
I have never been put in that position, thank God. I don't know if this is real wood, but I'm knock on it. I don't want to be.
Yeah.
But then you hear the other law enforcement professionals who have been shot, and they
Yeah.
called it and you radio dispatch. I need backup. I've been shot. Like they're very boop, 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 boop. Suspect was this,
Yeah.
driving away in this, whatever. Very calm, almost like a pilot. When you fly a commercial, and they're like, folks, we're gonna hit a little turbulence. But shit's popping bad.
Right.
But you're giving very clear, descriptive what's going on, what's happening, so people can respond accordingly. You just getting on the radio saying, "I need help. Come help." What is going on? What are we responding to?
Where are you? Right.
I will say, a handful of times that I was ever in a vehicle pursuit, I don't know why, because I could tell you my heart was beating out of my chest. I had the sweat on the forehead and the upper lip. We all know what that is. Stress. I was stressed.
Yeah.
But when you listen to recording, it sounded like,
no big deal.
Hillsborough, we're going 115 on Bruce B. Downs, headed southbound. We're taking a right. Suspect is now taking a left. Just very almost like I'm dictating or commentating on something that's occurring as opposed to being in it. So I'm proud of that. I can tell you, I don't know how I did that because in my body, I was sweating. I was like, a lot of shit was going on, but whatever, it happened.
Training. That's
You're
how
going to
you
be on the
that.
You're going to be on the radio. Where are you? What's happening? What do you need?
Always. Tell me where you're at first. That needs to be the first thing you get out.
Number one. That is number one.
I can get to you and figure out everything else. But where are you?
Calmly.
Then
as calmly as you can.
As calmly as you can. Yeah, as calmly as you can. I can say that was one thing that I did pride myself on the radio. I remember getting dispatched our old stomping ground. This was back when I didn't really have a good backup because both you and BJ had gone, and I was out.
We abandoned you. We abandoned you.
Well, you didn't abandon. They moved you to Alpha 1 and said, don't respond.
Yeah. Well, I was Bravo 4, but I was in trouble.
Right. I was over in the fishbowl on a call, and I hear a shooting go out, and I am 12 seconds away because I am 1 block over. And so I drive around the corner to this. There had to be 20 people that lived at this house. 2 of them are down with gunshot wounds. It was a drive-by by a rival gang or something. So I'm there and I'm like, Hillsborough, I need some additional units. I got about 20 people here. I need EMS to respond. Got a gunshot wound to the leg. I got a gunshot wound to the shoulder. Both are awake and breathing. I need to hold the station. I don't know. So they're telling me which way the suspects fled. Stand by. Like, I knew how to compartmentalize. You have to, because I can't help. I can't help the people. I can't help myself, keep myself safe, and I can't then direct the other deputies that are going to be responding to help if I'm going, ah! But we all know those deputies. There was a deputy once, I won't name him, and he got on the radio, and he's like, Hillsborough, is anybody with me? I'm like, what are you talking about?
That makes me not want to help you. Now, you know what? I gotta give a caveat, Mo. I won't name him. He was a great deputy. Love the guy. He just had the inflection in his voice. There's nothing he could do about it. We talked to him about it because when his adrenaline was going. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
His voice would raise several octaves, and it sounded like he was under duress. But he sounded calm. But it was like, oh my God, is he dying? And you get there, and he's super calm. But his voice was. We would laugh, and we're like, bro, I'm trying to help you, but hold on, I can't. I need a minute. I need a minute, because that's just what. Listen, adrenaline affects everybody differently. For me, when I have the adrenaline dump or whatever, my legs get numb, and I have to sit down for a second. Some people have to pee. Actually, one of my FTOs, who's now, he was a detective when I left. I don't know where he's at now. He would throw up,
Oh,
Nothing he could do. He's just like,
wild.
hold on, and then he'd be like, it's just what it
It's
is.
just what
Nothing I can do
happens.
about it. It's just what
I
whatever.
didn't
So
have anything crazy. I would shake. My hands would shake really
it's
bad.
for me, it was my legs. Like my
Yeah.
legs would just like give out, and I had to like sit down for it. But after like a couple minutes, I was
Yeah,
fine
you're
again.
ready to do
Whatever.
it again.
So shout out to that
And you have to
deputy.
realize we're still human. Like
Yeah, we
some of the
react.
stuff we
Shit's
see is
stressful.
scary
Yeah,
and it's
I
stressful.
I don't know if we talked about it on this Street Tales or 56ing,
Mhm.
but there was two different talking about the different types of deputies. There was one who was like a SWAT commander. He was all this stuff, and if he just said, "Hillsborough, can you send me a backup?" Just that, it was like, "Oh shit, something's popping
It's
off,"
bad.
and that's all he would say. And there'd be
Yeah,
20 deputies because like
right.
something's going on. He doesn't ever call for backup. There's another deputy that would scream and cry and freak out, and you get there and it's like nothing is happening.
Nothing big.
He's what are you doing? And like sometimes the lieutenant would be like, free those units, I'll go. That's how bad he was. That's how
That's
bad he was.
terrible.
That's how bad he was.
I will say with my when I was on my squads, they used to always say if I asked for a backup, it was because it was bad. Because I
Mhm,
did not ever want, especially being a female in law enforcement, I
mhm.
did not ever want to be one of those deputies that wrote checks and then waited for Tyler to come and cash them. I so if I would use a lot, like I was one that I could talk to people, but if I saw it was going a different way, I would make sure they understood this ain't gonna work out well for you. And I
Mhm,
had no problem. I'm gonna go hands on, and because most of the time you're getting bluffed by bad guy, so I'm
mhm.
gonna go hands on and
Yeah.
try to do my job. If I call for backup, it's because I'm in it and I really truly needed help.
Yes.
And I just didn't wanna be one of those deputies that was always crying and screaming for help, and like I said,
Yeah.
especially being a female, because there were some females that would go out on calls, and every time they went on a call, "Where's my backup?" It didn't matter if it was
It
a
didn't matter.
stolen mail call, they'd need a backup.
And again, this is not dumping on females because
No?
there's one female who's been on a few documentaries. You know who she is.
Mhm.
She would do that. I remember backing her up one time. She's like crouched down with her gun out behind the trunk of her car. I get there, she starts talking mad shit to the dude. I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Nope, don't do that.
Now, with that being said, there was another female. I don't know if I can say her name. I won't.
Yeah,
She was Russian. I'll tell you who she is after we get off.
yeah.
She would go, Hillsborough, update me 1015 times 3 and have him like handcuffed to the bumper of her car and be like, I appreciate you, man. I was like, you arrested 3 people, you didn't call for backup? She's like, why? I
I
just need
got
help
it.
transport. I don't have enough space. I don't have enough space in the back.
Oh, lordy.
Yeah. So listen, it's not a female thing. And
No, it's not.
there's another one who actually, we'll talk about this off. She actually works for the same agency I work for now, Small World.
Oh,
She was, dude, I saw her, some dude spit in her face while I was there, and she's very small, but she spider monkeyed up his fucking body and choked his ass out. So anyway, whatever. It's not a female thing. It's just whatever.
don't spit on no, it's not, 'cause
Woo!
there was
That's
a
chemical.
male deputy that
That's
worked
chemical
with
battery.
me. It is battery. There was a male deputy that worked with me. He got knocked out one time, and after that, he would never go to calls by himself. He would circle the block till you
I
got
know
there
who that.
first.
I know who that is.
Yeah. So,
I know who
it's
that
not a
is.
male or female thing.
No.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yes.
So, you were gonna
Real
tell
quick,
us the
real quick.
story of you fighting the family too, right?
Oh, well, hold on. I'm gonna table that
Oh,
for a
hold
second. I
on.
just one more story about just because it's reminiscent of what you're dealing with in the elementary school setting. Love it. There's a story. It's actually BJ's story. I'll have him on to tell it, but I
I love it.
just so we can laugh for a second. He was chasing a burglary suspect who was running. He was running in track cleats. So if you know what track cleats are, they get the little metal spikes on the bottom.
Yes.
So there's another deputy. Again, I leave names out for the most part. I did name names in the last one, but all positive.
Right.
But he's chasing them and he's on the radio. All that's fine. But they run through a Burger King, like through the kitchen. You know, it's just greasy as fuck. Dude's
Yeah.
sliding all over the place. and BJ's there with him. They're running, they're chasing after this guy, and the dude's sliding. BJ's just laughing. The other guy, they catch him out the back of the Burger King,
Right.
and this guy's just he's wrestling. It's not going well for the other deputy. BJ's like, "What are you doing?" He just grabs the guy and shakes him. Now BJ is a giant human being.
He is a
just
giant human
shakes him.
being.
He just shakes him, and imagine chasing somebody in track cleats running through, like sliding around.
What are you doing? Why are you running in track cleats, bro?
Oh, bro, it had me rolling. It had me
That is the
rolling.
best. That's the best.
Yes, so good.
BJ
Alright,
is a
real quick.
giant human being, and he has the biggest hands I've ever seen on a human.
He does. He definitely
It's
I would love
insane.
to see, you know how they have those basketball grips, like, "Hey, these are NBA players?" I wanna see BJ's hand on one of those, because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he makes my hands, which, it's hard on a camera, but I look like I have baby hands. Like, his
You
hands
do.
come over mine like this.
It's crazy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway,
Anyways.
so real quick, when BJ abandoned me, and I know he listens to the show, so he'll laugh. He'll roll his eyes. But literally the next call, uh, the next shift, I should say, I get a response to a call with a domestic. The father called because his two oldest sons were fighting, and he wanted the oldest son didn't live there anymore. He wanted the oldest son out. I can't, I leave this part out. There was another deputy there with me, but he totally was not involved in the scenario.
Oh.
I'll
Ho
tell you who it was again after. Yeah,
We'll
it was
talk about
always
that later.
because when I tell the story, it's just me, but it was just me because he was
Okay.
outside the entire time.
Just watching the perimeter?
I don't know what he was doing. So
Okay.
he's talking to the dad. I'm talking to the dad while we're both talking to the father who called us to be there. I hear crash, screaming, fighting's going on. I said, "Is that?" He goes, "I need him out of here. I want him gone." I go in. I see two young
Second
adult
deputy
males.
just stays outside?
Yes. I
Okay.
go in because I'm going to go handle it, and he's
Right.
going to get the information. Whatever. Whatever.
No.
Well,
No.
yes, Mo, this is me just telling you what happened.
Very well. I
So
will
I go
digress.
in, and I see them, and I start approaching what appeared to be the oldest sibling. I don't know. And I'm just trying to break up the fight because when I say fight, they're like fighting each other. It's not like the stupid wrestling. They're punching each other in the face. And I'm like, all right. And so as soon as I grab what it was the oldest male, but it looked like the oldest male. As soon as I grab the oldest male, I feel somebody come on top of my back, like arm over me, like jump on my back. That's what I feel. I immediately go, slide the person off, and I just boom with an elbow. It was their mom.
Okay. Still
Like,
well served.
listen, it wouldn't have changed anything, but now I'm 10 years removed from that case or that incident. I still feel bad because I gave her again, for people listening, I didn't know. It's not like I looked and said, "Oh, she's a 60-year-old woman. Let me elbow her in the face." No, I just felt somebody on my back, and I went boom, and I just she got all that. She goes over the couch, crashes into the coffee table, and breaks it. Well, then the dad sees that through the doorway, and he is like, "I just elbowed his wife."
Yeah, but did he see his wife crawl up on your back when you were trying to do
Don't
your
know.
job?
I don't know. So
Okay.
he comes sprinting at me like he's gonna like tackle me. So I upper chest chop right, boom. He goes over the couch too. Boom. So now everybody's fired up. Well, unbeknownst to me, there are 7 children in this house, all of adult age. They
Jeez.
come pouring out of their rooms, and now it's on.
And the
And
other
when I
deputy's
say it,
still outside taking information down?
Mo, I feel bad. Well, I feel bad because he's not a bad guy, but anyway, I think things were.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I'm just not going to name his name. I'll
Okay,
tell
I
you who it was
digress.
afterwards. I'll tell you who it was afterwards. He's like, I swear to God, Mo, he's like in the door frame like this, watching.
Yeah.
And it is a royal fucking rumble. Because they're trying to sweep my legs, they're trying to fight me, and I'm picking them up and throwing them into furniture, kitchen table, the hutch. I don't know furniture names, what I'm saying, but
Right.
I'm throwing human bodies. Boom, boom, boom. I I think is it 26th station? I hit the red button, whatever the fuck that's
Yeah.
called. I freeze it.
46 the
And I
station.
and I'm like, I need backup. I've got I think I said 8 or 9 suspects. We need help now. Because they're all in there. They're
Right.
all in the fucking mix. And I'm just
Right.
boom, boom, boom. And they keep trying to swipe my legs, but every time they swipe my legs, I just kick them. Boom. Now, actually, I'll get to the point in a second. So I start working my way back to the door so I can get the fuck out of this house because it's
Right.
too many people, right? They're coming from everywhere, and I'm just like boom, 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 boom. And my uniform's torn, my radio, everything's all fucked up. And as I'm coming out, one of them grabs my shirt, and so I grab that person by their shirt, and then and this is important later. The one of the females tries to like swipe, do this thing, whatever. So I grab her by her hair, and I'm just dragging them both out of the house with me. That's how. So when
These are coming with me.
when the entire District 1, including the major, dumps into this house, they see me. Which actually, thank God, because I don't know how long that time frame was. It wasn't
Yeah.
long, but like I'm saying,
It felt
K9, the fucking major down to every supervisor, the
That's
street
awesome.
was wild flooded with cop cars, and they see me just dragging these 2 people out. Well, unbeknownst to me, Detective Batman, now Sergeant Detective Batman, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Uh, the one man we would both call if there was ever a homicide we needed solved.
Absolutely.
I didn't know this. He side tacked. So there was a friend in the back who was coming up. He was like going to punch me in the back of the head or something. And he side tackles that motherfucker. I didn't even know that guy existed. I was unaware of his existence.
Right.
So all this happens. Everyone fucking pours into the house. Like it was impressive.
Everybody.
You know
Yeah.
what? It made me feel good because I'll tell you, as a trooper in Maine, backup was 2 hours away.
Oh,
if at all. So
okay.
the entire district flooded into this house. Once I fall down, I'm out of breath. I don't know how long I was fighting. I don't know how long everything was going. I had blood all over me.
Mm.
And my sergeant, I'll tell you who the sergeant was after we were done. Actually, I didn't mind him. He was actually he was okay. Anyway, he goes, "Hey buddy, you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." He goes, "Is this blood yours?" I was like, "I don't think so." He goes, "All right." I'm laying there. He goes, "Just stay there, catch your breath. Everything's fine. We got it." And then he comes back over to me. He goes, "Hey, I got a question for you." I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Why didn't you pull your gun?" And I had to think. And I said, "Because I was winning." And he just laughed. He goes, "Good answer. Good answer.
Very well.
Fair enough." And then he
Yeah.
goes, "All right." He goes, "Second question. Who's going to jail?" I said, "All these motherfuckers." I was yelling, "All these motherfuckers going to jail." He's like, "All right, relax." He goes, "Take a breath, all good." And so I see them all marched out one by one in handcuffs. Boom, 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 boom. He goes, "All right, we need to get out of here." And he goes, "You good? Can you drive?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Whatever." So I get in my car. I'm fucking hot. I was fine. I was fine to drive to the district, but I was fucking hot. So then they march them all into the holding area, and the detectives now, the district detectives, start peeling them off one by one to interview them and be like,
All right.
because they're thinking, is this a fucking setup? Is this a ambush? Like, did you
Yeah.
call 911 to attack deputy? I don't know. They don't know what's going on. All that to say, that's not what happened. What the reason we were there was the reason we were there, but the mother apologized to the detective who I'm sitting there, I don't know if you remember, I was watching through the glass and you could listen because it
Mhm.
was all recorded. She goes, "I am so sorry." She goes, "I saw the deputy. He put hands on my son, and I'm so sorry." And she's saying that meanwhile, her nose is like this. She's bleeding all out her face. And I felt awful looking at that. But I'm like, she goes, "Can you tell him thank you? Because he could have killed all of us."
That is true.
Ma'am. Now, the young lady who tried to, I don't know, scratch. I don't know what she was trying to do.
Mhm.
Well, come to find out, because now everything's calm and they're all being interviewed one by one. She has a colostomy bag. She has medical
Oh,
issues. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
"Oh."
And you were dragging her out by her hair?
I listen, it's not like I knew this in the moment. It's not like I was, like, assessing,
No.
"Oh, she's got medical issues." You don't know any of this shit when you're in the middle of it, right?
No. Don't
So
start a fight if you have a colostomy bag.
oh, I felt so bad. But it was like the whole but everybody, so long story short, they all get processed, they all go to county, varying degrees of charges, whatever. So all that it took
Right?
this was like a 6, 7 hour day. This is
I
also
could
one of
only
those days.
imagine.
This is one of those days where I went home and my kids were very young, 5 and 3. And I've got blood all over me. I'm all disheveled and all this shit. And I'm like changing out my shirt so I could go back to work, mind you. I had to go
No.
back on shift.
And they're like,
And oh my God. I was like, don't worry, it's not mine.
"Okay, bye."
Everything's fine. Go back to bed. You're fine. Yeah, yeah.
One of those times
Uh,
we didn't think it through.
so how that all played out is none of them actually went to jail. They all got like community service, probation, whatever. The only one that actually took it to trial was the young lady with the colostomy bag. And listen, what drove me crazy was in court, she rolled up in a wheelchair. I was like,
Oh, no.
ma'am. And then the defense attorney goes on to be like, this deputy thought he was in a WWE wrestling match. Me was jumping on tables and like elbowing, like he describes a Royal Rumble match. This is in court, mind you. This is in court. And I'm like, I'm sitting on the stand and he starts saying that. And I laughed and I was like, and I'm, because if you've ever been in court testify, you can't do that. Like
Yeah,
composure. But I'm laughing at his description of what happened. I
right.
was like, and he asked me after he's like demonstrating, like he's dropping elbows, he's coming off the top rope. I was like, bro, what? What are you talking about?
You're talking
What are you talking about? Long story short, the jury didn't buy into that. This is back in the day when, anyway, there wasn't so much political hatred towards cops, but they found her guilty of a misdemeanor, mind you. This is also ties into our conversation about, well, deputy, did you sustain any injuries? Were you horribly mangled? I was like, no. And so they pretty much pled everybody down to like a misdemeanor charge. They did probation.
Just because 'cause I'm horribly not injured doesn't mean if I had not responded in the manner that I did, that I wouldn't have been injured.
Yeah.
That's what it boiled down to.
Yes.
Bro, that was
They
that was a wild story. I remember the first
they
time you
all
told me that.
they
I
all had to write letters. They all had to write letters of apology to me, which was great. I had them for a very long time, but I do not have them anymore. Yeah. So yeah.
wild story.
So that's a true thing that happened.
I love it.
Boom. With that being said, you want to jump into
Yes.
this thing?
Let's go.
Uh oh my God. All right. All right. So for the first one, what do I have this labeled? This is labeled DV hammer.
Oh, Lord.
Domestic violence with a hammer. So this happened on October 13th. I don't think it was Friday though. 2014. So 3 years on
Mm,
at 11:30 at night. So
jeez.
I responded to a aggravated domestic battery that just occurred. Upon arrival, I met with and interviewed the victim regarding the incident, advised that he was struck in the back of his head with a hammer by his wife. Yeah.
Got it.
Yes. All right. Was visibly upset and had a small contusion on the back of his head. Declined EMS. So this is the other thing. People got to understand. Dude was hit in the back of the head with a fucking hammer. I remember this
And
call so
said,
well. I've actually talked
"Nah, I
about
don't
it.
need
No, I'm
EMS."
good. I'm good. But he did provide a written statement, and we were allowed to take photographs. I met and interviewed with the witness and confirmed the use of the hammer by the lady in the altercation between her and her husband. Did not know if she had made contact, but she was swinging the hammer at him nonetheless. While
Jeez.
conducting my interview, the arrestee made several spontaneous statements regarding the incident, which you'll see the interview. She made the following spontaneous statement: I armed myself with the hammer because I know my husband, who he is, and I didn't want to fight with him no more. So I'm
Oh,
fed up. I'm ending this.
Jeez.
Yeah. Then I met with and interviewed the second witness, and then I attempted to interview the other child in the residence, but was unable to do so. I remember this because she was like, she wasn't able to speak,
Okay.
not from injury, just from. Let's see, I don't know. I gotta be careful with this stuff. We get flagged about this stuff on YouTube all the time.
Mhm.
Can't talk about mental health or disabilities. Also, I love how I wrote this. I located the hammer used during the altercation under the couch cushion in the living room. I later impounded the hammer into evidence locker at District 1. I was hold on, and this is important. I was unable to take any additional pictures regarding the incident due to the uncooperativeness of the family and the victim. They didn't want me taking
Oh.
pictures of their home.
Oh. Okay.
So you call 911 because your
Mhm.
girl busted you up in the head with a hammer, and you're like, "Nah, don't
Yeah.
take no pictures of me." Well, I had to take pictures of his injuries, but
That's
he didn't
it.
want any pictures of his home.
You don't need nothing else.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Mhm.
All right. So this is the victim. So the victim, which is the male,
Mhm.
under oath, that he asked his wife, the lady, for a cigarette while she was in the bathroom. She opened the door and started to yell at him, and then threw the cigarette pack in his face and slammed the door in his face. When he asked why she had a fucking attitude, that's when the verbal altercation started. He walked away and shut himself in the bedroom with his children to get away from his wife because she didn't want to fight. She then kicked the bedroom door open and continued to call him names and verbally
Oh
assault
my
him.
gosh.
Mhm. She then
Wild.
she then left the bedroom, came back with a hammer, and started to threaten him with a hammer. Do you think that's what happened, Mo? Do you think he just asked for a cigarette? And I don't know what happened. I just asked her for a cigarette.
No. There was something
Okay.
else before that.
Yes. So this is kind of ties into what we were talking about before. But at this point, his children tried to get in between them. They didn't want to see him fight. And according to the victim, which had the egg-sized lump on the back of his head,
Jeez.
she wasn't having it. She reached over her children to hit him in the back of the head with a hammer. Yes.
Wow.
Now, this is my favorite part. He was able to get out of the apartment. He did not want to press charges, but he also didn't want to keep getting hit in the head with a hammer either. I know it's not funny for the people listening.
It's
I get
not.
it. I understand the concept.
It's
It's
just the way
not
people
funny,
phrase things, though.
bro.
I don't wanna go to jail, but I don't wanna keep getting hit in the head with a hammer.
But he was more concerned about his wife learning her lesson that she can't hit him in the head with a hammer every time she gets mad at him.
Wait a minute. This is what the go-to was?
Yes. I don't
Jeez.
want to press charges, but she can't be hitting me in the head with a with a hammer.
Every time she gets mad.
So that leads me to believe this has happened more than once.
Absolutely. That has
Mhm.
happened more than once.
Yes. So now the victim is all blacked out, or the witness, I'm sorry, because it's one of the children.
Mhm,
I think there was 3 children in this. They're all blacked out,
mhm.
which is I'm fine with.
Right.
Um, that she was sleeping in the living room of the apartment, heard a loud arguing. She observed her mother, the lady, and her father, the victim,
Mhm.
arguing in the doorway of the bedroom. Her mother had a hammer in her hand and had lit a cigarette, and her father had a lit cigarette. So he still took the pack and was smoking a cigarette. She got in between them in an effort to separate them. She also advised they argue all the time and it does get violent. So, like I said, this has happened more than once. Her mother was swinging the hammer, but she doesn't know if she ever hit her father. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to read this because it's all blacked out.
Right.
And did not actually see anyone get hit. Shout
Mm.
out to the child. I get what's happening.
Right.
This is the other child. He knows the difference between this was a young child because Mo, when you ask a young child, do you know the difference between a truth and a lie? And was qualified at the scene, meaning,
Correct.
yes, I do. Yes, there was a
Yes.
whole thing with that. Advised he was watching television in his bedroom when he heard his parents fighting. He remembers his father knock on the bathroom door asking for a cigarette from their mother. She opened the door, threw the cigarette pack in his father's face, and started to yell at him. His mother came back into the room and shut. Oh, I'm sorry. His father came into his room and shut the door to get away from their mother because he didn't want to fight with her. His mother kicked the door in and started to yell at his father. They continued to yell at each other for a little while. His mother left the bedroom, came back with a hammer, and started to yell. His mother was yelling, she was going to kill him and to get out of her house. His father, this is where it gets back and forth. His father tried to get in between him and his son. Anyway, this part's a little hard. It was a young kid. Long story short, his mother started swinging the hammer, and he saw his father grab the back of his head and start crying because his mother had hit him in the back of the head. So again,
Jeez.
you're interviewing a small child
Right.
about their parents who they live with
Right.
fighting.
That's tough.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right.
That's tough for sure.
Yes.
Because the kid doesn't want to say something that he knows might get one of the parents in trouble.
Because think about this. We're arresting the mother. The dad now is lumped up, but dad doesn't want to press charges. So mom's coming back. So
yeah,
I'm trying. Domestics are wild. I do want to get into this in a second, but let me just. Yeah. So this is the arrestee. So here we go. This was her interview. She advised that she was tired of her husband. He was always talking shit and always had a bad attitude all the time. He has a drug problem and he gets violent. And when she doesn't give him money for his drug addiction, he gets violent. As soon as he started to yell at her, she grabbed the hammer because she was tired of fighting with him. She did swing the hammer at him in self-defense, but she never actually hit him. Dude was lumped up out the back. I'm just saying.
How did he get this lump on the back of his head, ma'am?
Yes.
At the same time that you were swinging a hammer.
Yes.
We got to think about that one.
That's the end of the report because charges were dropped.
Of course. Of course.
So, Mo, I thought this was an interesting one for multiple reasons. Mm-hmm. One, it incorporated arresting a female for domestic violence.
Yeah.
Two, it involved interviewing young children. These are all 12 and under. I think actually the youngest was like 5. Wow. All this is blacked out, but I remember this so clearly because it was a weird one. And I just love how I was just asking for a cigarette.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Go ahead, Mo. Break it down.
Just asking for a cigarette isn't what
I'm just asking for a cigarette.
No.
I was asking for a cigarette. She hit me in the head with a hammer. I don't even know what happened.
Somewhere something is left out of that story, sir.
But even in his own interview, he talks about she can't keep hitting me in the head with a hammer every time she gets bad. So wait, has this happened more than once?
Is this how y'all communicate?
What's happening?
That's crazy. I will say too, the other thing, bringing up the fact that there were young kids that you're talking to, people don't realize that like that's another layer to it that is rough. It's rough for the cops. I think sometimes we see these kids and then we're like, this sucks for them to be in this situation. But
these are
as
young
cops,
kids,
they're young. We've got to interview them to try to figure out who is the primary aggressor, because that is our job in that moment. And you put your kids in a really awkward position. And we're not saying don't call. Absolutely, we're saying call. We're saying if you can't communicate with your said spouse or significant other and it gets you into these kind of situations, maybe we should rethink the situation that we're in.
Yeah, for sure. But also think about, and I think I've told you this before, there was a short stint, very short, I think maybe 3 to 5,
right?
Where, because so one of my favorite sergeants was like, you need to study the laws and know, you need to be confident what you're charging people with, what you can do, what you can't do. So I read the shit out of this. As a matter of fact, I took a 40-hour course on domestic violence. Like, actually, you talked about on one of the last ones we did where you were a DV investigator, even though they did away with that spot, but they still had the court.
Right.
So I was well versed in domestic violence. Well, in my interpretation, watching two parents fight each other to the point that you're hitting each other in the head with hammers, that is a level one, what am I trying to say? A felony in the first degree, because there's first degree, second degree, third degree.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's mental abuse of a child. You know where I'm going with this, Mo.
Oh, I do. I do.
So I arrested that individual and I charged them not only with domestic violence, aggravated domestic violence, but also with child abuse, mental abuse. I think, like I said, I think I had maybe 3 or 5, something in that range. All of a sudden, I get 2 back-to-back calls. One was from my sergeant saying, "Come to the office. I need to talk to you immediately." Okay. The second one, as I'm en route to talk to the sergeant, was the chief intake district attorney for domestic violence, who called me and said, "Stop charging people with mental abuse of children." And I said, "They're fighting each other like to the fucking death in front of their children. How is that not mental abuse?" Like, I was kind of pushing back.
Right.
Long story short, the reason that they said don't do that was because it cost them, they had to call in experts.
Oh.
And it was a cost. And it's like a whole nother court. It's a whole nother, I was putting these things in a whole nother realm, and judges, and they were getting pissed off at me because with my 5, we'll just say 5, I'll go high. My 5 arrests charging that, I flooded the court because that's how much work it is.
They're like, don't.
So I got told, don't do that.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
I still stand by it.
They didn't say it was a bad charge. They just said no because of how much money it was costing.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. True story. True story, by the way.
Insane, though.
See, all these little things, as I read through these reports, I'm like, I remember that. I remember this happening. I remember this happening to me. I could also understand why supervisors were like getting a little tired of my interpretation of the laws.
Fair enough.
You know what? Actually, I heard, I was listening to another podcaster, not a cop. It does sidebar. It does drive me a little nuts when civilians who've never been in law enforcement start trying to break down and impart their opinion, which everyone's entitled to their opinion, whatever. Right. But you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But he was talking about basically like it was the whole was like school shooters and stuff like that, and how courts are now actually starting to go after school shooters. And his thing was like, hey, you should broaden that out, not just school shooters, but like there was some horrific case somewhere in the Midwest where 3 juveniles, and I mean, when I say juveniles, it was like 13, 12, and 11, pinned down a 9-year-old girl and brutally assaulted her and raped her.
Oh my gosh.
All brutal. And he's like, you should charge their parents too. And I'm like, I kind of agree. But it reminded me of another scenario that I was called into the office and had a different chief district attorney call me because, Mo, juveniles on probation. What do the parents sign? What are the parents, the guardians or the parents of those juveniles? They sign an agreement and a document saying they will enforce the probation or whatever that's going on, right? That they sign that. So when I go knock on your door of your 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid who's on, first degree felony charges for robbery, burglary, whatever charges, and they have a curfew of 9:00 and they're not home, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
So that one I know very well because I arrested 3 parents. Immediately got called into the office.
I was going to say, I feel like this one didn't go over well.
Did not go over well. And this was right after maybe like a few months separation, the DV stuff. So like 3 months later, a different sergeant was like, what are you doing? I was like, sir, this is the law. This is the statute. I know because I read it. And they're like, we don't do that here.
Oh.
I said, so juvenile probation doesn't mean shit then, is what you're saying. So I'm just going to arrest these kids over and over and over and over and over again while they're breaking into houses, breaking into cars. We're just, you're not going to hold anybody accountable for that. We're just going to keep doing the same bullshit. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You could see why I needed to choose a different agency, maybe. Although I gotta say it's probably the same in every agency across the country. No, I've never heard one time where a parent got besides my own involvement where a parent got arrested because they wouldn't control their fucking
Enforce.
kids. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They frown upon that kind of thing. However, recently I just watched a story. Now it was a school shooter where the dad was charged.
No, I'm saying they are doing that
Yeah,
now. They haven't.
now.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But that I think is only in extreme cases like the school shooter cases. I don't think they're
Yeah.
doing it in the average case where a kid's violating their curfew and things like that. Um, but it's something to think about. If we were to enforce those kind of laws
Hold them
when the crime
accountable.
before
Yeah.
the crimes escalated to being more serious crimes, could the
Mhm.
more serious crimes then be prevented? I don't
And
know.
let me say this too, because you know what? I was talking to somebody I was in court all day today. Doesn't matter. We were talking unrelated, but I was talking to like marshals and other people. We were talking about they were talking about juvenile stuff because juvenile stuff is not in the federal system. We don't federal system doesn't deal with juveniles. Period. The end. Rare circumstances, maybe I'm sure somebody will comment, and be like, "Oh, well, in this case, whatever." Very rarely does that ever
Yeah.
happen. But they know who I am, so they're like, "You were a cop in Florida," and I was like, "I was." And we were talking about when we had kind of a rash of shootings of juveniles in Florida, not just Hillsborough, but all across Florida. I
Right.
think actually Hillsborough had 2 at the time. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. And I was like, I remember, and I don't know if you remember, Mo, we had a our lieutenant at the time, we had a meeting because it's a problem, right? You shoot a
Yeah.
fucking 12, 13-year-old kid, it's a problem.
Right.
Optics aren't great, and it's like that's when the airsoft guns and the BB guns, they look like ARs, they look like
Yeah.
Glocks, like they looked very, very
Very
real,
real.
and you're getting calls like, "Hey, there's somebody with a gun, they're in," whatever.
Right.
The one that stands out to me is there was somebody with an AR style weapon in a Walmart. They thought they were being robbed or there was an active shooter in Walmart because the individual was running around with a gun. Turned out the kid was like 14, 15, and the
Right.
deputy shot him.
Oof.
It wasn't it was like an airsoft gun, but
Right.
looking at the gun, you would not know that.
Yeah.
Also, at the same time, because that was all in the news, actual criminals were painting the tips of their real guns like orange and pink, and they were painting
Yep.
them different colors because they would cause the deputies to pause for a second before they engaged, and that pause would not go well for
Yeah.
for the law enforcement professional. And I remember thinking like, I have young children at home, and I just want to say, when you hear somebody's age, it's so hard to quantify.
Mhm.
I remember I was in 6th grade. So how old are you in 6th grade, Mo? Do you know?
Like,
12? 12?
12? 12,
11,
probably
12, something
11 or
like that?
12. You can be 11 or 12.
I'm just gonna call him by his first name. His name was Ronnie. Ronnie was in the same grade as me. We were on the same football team, thank God. Ronnie was 6 foot 220 in 6th grade.
Jeez.
Does that look like the average 11, 12-year-old to you?
No.
Furthermore, even if they are actually 11 or 12, if they have a real gun and they're shooting at you, I
Doesn't
have
matter.
a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old at home. I can't answer that for everybody. I'm not telling anybody what the answer. I'm just
Right.
posing the problem. I don't have a
Yeah.
good solution. It's a
Yeah,
problem.
there's not.
I don't have one. It's a horrible situation. Again, knocking on wood. I never had
Yeah.
to deal with that, but these are things that make you think.
Yeah, they do, and
Six
they
foot 220 has an airsoft gun, gets shot. Oh my God, he's 12.
yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah. That's what it's like. I think that citizens academies are amazing for the
Yeah.
fact that they expose people who aren't cops to cops-like situations, and they've really
Yeah.
been good about incorporating the shoot, don't shoot scenarios so that people can
Mhm.
realistically see what that instant decision making looks like. And it's
Yeah.
so funny because there's been statistics that shows more often than not, when they bring in these citizens and have them do these shoot don't shoot scenarios, they will typically shoot people way quicker than cops actually do. And then
Mhm.
they see how difficult it is to actually shoot someone in a hand or in a extremity versus shooting in the biggest part of our body, which is our chest.
Yes.
That center mass is what it's actually called, but that's essentially where it is. So I think those are always important to allow the public to see what does that just that moment of time when you have to decide, do I shoot or do I not shoot? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And in those instances, they are very sad. And I think of the time, the law enforcement professional is is torn by the idea of what transpires. But I think it
Yes.
is difficult to make that decision and go, "Wait, wait, wait, is that a re," like, you don't have the ability nor do you have the time to spend it. You have to it is literally an instantaneous decision, and you have to go with whatever you chose to do at that time and deal with any of the consequences that come from it.
Yes. Side note, apologies for being distracted. My daughter was calling me and texting me. She just got accepted into a college. I'm not going to say the name, but she accepted on Saturday. She arrived and they sent her a big acceptance package with stickers and all the package and all the hype. So she's super fired up.
I love it.
And I guess somewhere
Congratulations.
I put on there that she has a cat. So they sent her like cat swag. Well done. Well done.
That is
Whoever is
well
in charge of
played.
that, well done. Well done.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sorry. Sorry.
That's a
I
good
didn't mean to
one.
be distracted, Mo.
No, you're fine.
Yes. I was like, why is she blowing me up? She knows I'm recording, but I see why now.
She's excited about
Apologies.
her cat swag.
Yes. So to the point, I have children as well.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah,
Anything else
yeah.
you want to address? I got one more. We're at about 52 minutes, Mo. You want
No,
to do one
let's
more?
go to the next one. Let's do this one.
We're going all over the map on this one.
I love it. Let's do it.
I will say, please comment. Please, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, because I do read the comments. Well, we all do.
Yeah,
Um, we've gotten more comments on, again, I keep saying true crime. I don't know what to actually call this. Maybe I should call it like behind the scenes, because it's not, when I think of true crimes, I think of like sensationalized, like serial
right.
killers or cases from like 40 years ago, cold cases, things like that.
Yeah,
Shout out Jason Palomara. He was a cold case detective out of New York. Um, but
amazing,
that's not
amazing
what
dude.
these are. These are just the day in the life. This is like
Yeah,
every cop has dealt with this.
yeah.
I
This is
also get a
behind
lot. Go ahead.
this is behind the street tales.
Yes, this is like what actually is going on. But I
Yeah,
also get comments from cops going 100% accurate, whenever we talk about it, or other friends of mine and people that subscribe, not just the friends. I don't have 2,500 friends. I have, well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, but they're like, dude, I love the behind the scenes shit and like what you were thinking or what was actually going on. They're like, I didn't
right.
know. They don't think about it. They don't know.
No, it's
And
awesome.
keep in mind, people listening, these are just some of the like I just was very limited in what I requested from my reports because I didn't want to get too dark or anything. So these are the ones that I think kind of touch on a lot of different aspects. But
Right.
um I actually, well, we've talked about it before, and I've actually had other guests tell me, or not guests, well, actually some guests, but the darker shit that
Mhm.
maybe one day we'll just do an episode, even if it doesn't get a lot of views.
Right.
They're like, dude, I hear you. I know it's important. I know it happens, but I'm trying to listen to this while I'm working out or I'm driving to work. I don't want to listen
Right.
to that shit.
No,
It's
that
too
brings you
dark.
down.
It hurts. Stuff is still no go, but we will do it eventually because there are some
Eventually.
shit. There's some shit,
There's some
those are gonna be hard. I don't know. We'll have to think about
yeah.
those. All
We'll
right,
think about
last
'em.
one.
Last one, let's
Last
go.
last one. This one I had labeled violent DV.
Hmm,
Yes.
okay.
So what I did is I went through all the records that I got. So I had like 800. Not all of them made the cut because some of them are dumb. But I these are the ones I read through that I was like, yeah, we should keep these. All right. All
Right.
right. So this one was also in 2014. This was in April of 2014. This one was at 6 o'clock in the afternoon,
Oh,
early.
that's like fresh, brand new first call out the shift.
Actually, that's probably right. That might, I don't know if because we always did roll call first shift of the week or whatever. So
Right.
depending on what day. So I don't even know if we were in roll call at this, but whatever. So I responded to a domestic in progress. And again, these are all cases that either I, you, or BU and BJ all worked. But this one I
Mhm.
think was just me. Upon arrival, I observed two female juveniles and a male juvenile standing in the front of the residence. So 3 children crying and visibly upset. I could hear an altercation between a man and a woman coming from inside the residence. The two female juveniles stated, "Please help. My dad is going to kill my mom with a knife." I immediately went inside. I'm by myself at this point, Mo.
Right.
We've talked about this. I will say this. Shout out, and this is why it drives me through the fucking roof when people hate on local cops, city. I keep saying that because it's like you've got officers, you've got deputies, you've got troopers. All of them are
Right.
considered local cops because that's what you fucking do. You got
Right.
3 kids, like he's gonna kill my mom. I'm not
Yeah.
waiting for backup. I'm not doing an ops plan. I'm not waiting for 12 fucking
No.
other. That's not how it works. You just go. You got to
Going
go.
in.
Something bad is happening. You go in. I could hear an altercation. All right. So I went inside the residence and announced my presence. Police, Hillsborough, whatever. I don't remember what
Yeah.
I said. A male identified as doesn't matter. What the fuck are you doing in my house?
Oh, glad to see you too, sir.
And this is where my report writing was not great. What the fuck you doing in my house? I detained the individual and put him in the back of my
No.
patrol car.
Yeah. Conversation.
I don't know what happened. Next thing I knew, he had handcuffs on him.
He had handcuffs on, and he was in the back of your patrol car.
Yes. I interviewed everybody. And so for those who don't understand, I'm going to say all through juveniles were qualified to be able to tell the difference between a truth and a lie. And all 3 of them were able to articulate the nature of the events in their own words.
Right.
This, I don't know, Mo, what was the age range? These are like young. This
Yeah.
isn't even 12 and under. This is like 10 and I don't know, like
Typically,
young kids.
young. As
Now,
long as they could talk,
yeah,
we could qualify them to make sure that they understood that. So
yeah,
it could be as young as 3. I mean, you
it
really
could be.
could be. Mhm.
Sidebar, I want to get back to this, but I do remember a 3-year-old was a victim of a battery by a 15-year-old. I'll just say the 15-year-old was well known, had an ankle monitor on. I had arrested her many times. I'll say her first name. Her first name was Angel. And I had dealt with her so many times. And
Clearly, she was not.
I was like, why are you beating up a 3-year-old? That bitch was running her mouth. That bitch that she's referring to was 3 years old. I remember interviewing the 3-year-old. Her mom and her dad were there, and she had a busted lip and a black eye from where
A
the teenage girl had.
3-year-old?
Yes.
Somebody's gotta take a L, bro.
So hold on. So I go to the 3-year-old. I'm like, what happened? I'm down on my knee. I'm in dad mode, deputy mode. Like, what's going on? What happened? And I shit you not, Mo, 3 years old. She goes, that fat bitch was talking shit. That's unrelated to this case, but I'm just saying, some
I was
3-year-old.
not ready.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
She's 3. But that's unrelated. So some 3-year-olds they understand.
Okay. Very well.
And that is what started the thing. She called the teenage girl a fat bitch. So
Okay.
she wasn't wrong. She was very accurate in her description. Anywho, yeah. So moving on. So
Wild.
I interviewed everybody, the children, the victims. I took photos. Let's see. I read the arrestee his Miranda rights. All right, we'll move on. But I did take him into custody for domestic battery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Got it. All right. I was unable to locate the knife due to the nature of the condition of the home
Mm.
and the uncooperativeness of the victim.
Oh.
Think about what I just said. All three children are outside crying, like, oh my God, he's going to kill our mom. She doesn't want to cooperate. And I can already tell you, I've already read this report. She did not press charges because it ends where my report ends.
Hmm.
This is what deputies deal with. All right. So I interviewed the victim. She stated she was arguing with her husband about personal stuff. She was not cooperative. The argument became heated and they put hands on each other. The argument got out of hand and she locked herself in the bathroom to get away from him because she didn't want to hear his voice anymore. She never saw a knife and she doesn't know if he ever had one, and advised they were planning on separating this weekend and she was going to move out.
Oh.
That is the extent of the victim, who was, whatever altercation was happening so bad, her children ran out of the house, called 911, and were crying invisibly, like they were like, "Oh my God, he's
Right.
going to kill her."
Right.
That's what I'm just trying to put this out there for people listening that are not cops. They don't understand. All right. The witness, which was one of the children, that her mother and father were arguing because her father had kissed somebody.
Oh.
Her father grabbed a knife, with the knife in hand, grabbed her mother, threw her on the ground, and then he was threatening to stab her and kill her while she was on the ground.
Oh.
Now, this is where you're dealing with children. So somehow
Yeah.
between "I'm going to kill you with a knife," the mother was able to get away from that and lock herself in the bathroom.
Right.
Yes. Um, the same child observed the entire altercation from their bedroom doorway. Like,
Mhm.
like you can imagine a kid like, oh my God.
Right.
The father then turned around and started to threaten all of the children
Oh.
with the knife in his hand.
That's wild.
And this is where, you're talking to children, began to threaten all of them and use curse words.
Yeah.
That's how I'm reading the report.
Right.
She advised, this is the child, she advised she was in fear for her life and the life of her mother.
Oh,
And her father threatened her, her sister, and her brother. And that's when they all ran outside.
that's
She
wild.
began to tell me what happened and became visibly upset. She was crying and sobbing, as you can imagine.
Right. That's terrifying
And
for a
then she
child.
advised she didn't want to talk anymore and went back into the residence. I
Mm.
noted as a notation, she had a bruise on the side of her face. Her face was bruised up.
Wow.
That's all I got. That's one witness. Second witness. Mother and father were arguing. Father picked up the knife, threatened to kill his mom. Mom ran into the bathroom, locked the door. Dad then threatened to stab all his children. That's when they all ran. I am summarizing a little bit.
Right.
Father, he recalls his father calling his mother a bitch, his mother calling him a motherfucker, and then mother saying, I'm sorry, father saying, told her that she was ugly. This is you're interviewing children.
Right.
These are the things that they can recall.
Right.
Also, when he began to explain what happened, he also became visibly upset. His eyes filled with tears, and he was scared and he didn't want to talk anymore. This is the nature of what's happening in this home.
Ugh.
Did not answer any more questions.
Poor babies.
Yes. Third child. I think this was the youngest. My mom and dad were arguing. My dad grabbed a knife. They were fighting. She walked over to see what was going on because they fight all the time.
Mhm.
When she walked, so this is all, they're all describing their perspective from their bedrooms.
Right.
She goes, when I walked out of my bedroom, the house looked like a war zone, and my
Oh.
mother was locked in the bathroom, and my dad was screaming and yelling. And she fled with her siblings outside when her dad threatened them with a knife.
And this was the youngest child?
Yes. So
Wow.
very short. That's kind of, war zone was unique.
Pretty articulate, though, I was thinking.
Not bad. Not bad.
Like, that's not a word you would expect for a child to be aware of at, super young.
Yep.
But again, it goes back to these situations too. You put your kid in a situation where they gotta call the cops essentially on their parents to,
Mhm.
in their head, save their mom.
Yes. So
Scary.
the last witness was a neighbor
Mhm.
because that's where the kids had gone to call 911,
Right.
and the neighbor just says, "The kids came over to her house crying, told them what happened. She called 911. She goes, "They fight all the time." The kids told her that the father I'm having to paraphrase a little bit because 'cause I'm leaving the names out, and this
Right.
I wish I could show you this screen, but it's all blacked out.
Right.
Um, but the father was going to stab the mother with a knife. The neighbor could hear screaming and yelling coming from the residence. She stayed with the children until deputies arrived.
Wow.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the father who we ended up arresting.
Right.
He advised he was arguing with his girl about her kissing someone else.
Okay.
So remember what I said beginning, the victim said he was kissing someone else.
Right.
Okay. He didn't like the fact that she was kissing another man, so they started to argue. She began to tell him that he was worthless and she did everything by herself. He advised that these statements hurt him and his man pride, and he got angry. They started to push each other and wrestle each other. She started to punch him, and he might have punched her. I don't recall. This is
I mean, maybe.
He couldn't remember everything, but they did get physical with each other.
Mhm.
He advised the knife came into play when this is his words. So the knife came into play when they were arguing and he knocked it off the dresser. The knife was already open. He uses it when he goes fishing. I wish I could make this up. I'm reading his words directly. The knife was a black pocket knife, not that big. It's not even that big.
Not big at all.
He did hold it in his hands while they were arguing, but he
But he
did
wasn't
not
gonna do
threaten
anything.
anyone with his knife, and he wasn't
No.
going to attack anyone with it.
No. I was holding it.
He advised that the altercation did occur in front of their children. They probably saw him with the knife while they were fighting.
Probably. Yeah.
So that's what I have to go off of.
Right.
Jackin?
This
I
is
wish there was
wild.
more. There's no more. That's it. Because Mo, charges were dropped.
Of course.
Actually, oh wait, I'm sorry. The state attorney, despite repeated attempts by the state, the victim has not contacted authorities to assist with the prosecution of the case. There is no other admissible evidence to support the charge.
Hmm.
Charges dropped.
Of
There you
course.
go.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen listening, not in law enforcement, this is an everyday occurrence. And so when you see horrible, horrific things in the news and you're like, oh my God, why did they do anything? You tell me. You tell me.
Yeah. And that's very common. Like we have these cases that for anybody, to include the law enforcement officers that are responding, these are violent cases. These are
Mhm.
actual domestic violence cases where we should be making, we should be making the arrests. We should be doing what we're doing. And I understand that the victim culture of domestic violence is very difficult to sometimes break the cycle.
Mhm.
There there is only one way for it to be broken. The victim has to say enough is enough and allow the help that is out there for them to be made available. I understand though that it can be more difficult than we're saying that you can't just some people can't just get up and leave. They worry about a lot of different things financially. I don't have a
Yep.
job. How am I going to pay bills? The other big thing is I have a pet and I don't have anywhere to take them. A lot of shelters nowadays are opening up to where they will accommodate pets and things like that. But then you have the other side too, where you have people who this is just life for them. They're not in fear, even though these are very fearful situations, and they don't take into account the fear that is created around these children that are growing up in the home and witnessing, having to call the cops, being part of, being threatened, all these things occurring with these babies there. And these children then go to schools, they go to, you know, wherever, and they're taking all of this baggage with their little, you know, on their little backs essentially. And it's crazy. And then at the end, it's like, dismiss the charges. I'm not going to cooperate as a victim because I never wanted the person arrested anyways. And it's like,
Yep.
it's just going to get more and more problematic and more violent if you're not careful.
Correct. That's all I
Wild.
got, Mo.
That was both were wild. Both were. And
Reading
it's
these
great.
reports, I'm like, I can't believe we did all this shit.
Yeah. Crazy that
And
both of those
did you
ended
notice
with no.
did you realize there's no supplemental report?
Yeah, because there was no prosecution.
No, no, no. Meaning there's no backup.
Oh, yes. I did notice that as well.
No backup.
Yeah.
Solo
Wild.
dolo dealing with that.
Wild.
3 years on.
Oh.
I'm just saying. I'm not making excuses. And actually, we've had some criticisms. BJ and I talked about it on 56 and we were talking about one of the DVs where the guy basically was in the home. There was a protection order
Mhm.
and was telling her what to say to the cops when I knocked on the door. And I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
ma'am,
I did
if you
hear
don't
that.
open this door, I'm gonna kick it in. And she's like, I'm recording you, I'm fine, leave. And I was about to I kicked that motherfucker in and he jumped out the second story. The comments were, uh, you should have been shot because she was fine and you violated her Fourth Amendment rights and you should have never come into the home. Clearly didn't listen to the whole episode, but whatever.
But
These
that's
are the
where
thoughts.
people
These are the thoughts.
also that, like, those are people who aren't cops, because there is something to be said about going to the door of a home, and we've all been there if you're a law enforcement officer, where you're
Mhm.
talking to somebody and this person is clearly not telling you the truth. And you have to make a decision based on your experience, your training, to override what this person is saying and act based on your training and experience in the situations like this. Your training
Yeah.
and experience tells you that what she was doing did not feel natural, normal, or based
Mhm.
on also when you put the totality of the circumstances together, meaning the call for service that we had received, what it looks like when we got there, what we heard, the neighbors told us. Now we interact with this person and their persona. You put all those things together and you overlay the training that you've received as a law enforcement officer, not just in the academy, but throughout your career, and your experiences previous to that one. And based off of those, when you make a decision, you can still back it up, even if it may not have been the right one in that moment. But clearly,
Mhm.
in that instance, it was the right decision. Clearly.
Yep. Another comment was domestic violence is a scam and it's only used to keep people from acquiring guns. These are the comments that I plucked
Oh,
out two of the like, what's happening?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Which we've
it
addressed
can't.
on the show. We've addressed it on the show. People use
Sure,
cops
sure,
to
we
get
have.
back at their ex. Of course, we do.
Of
That is
course,
also true.
that is
And that's what you
fully
have to
true.
filter through all of that to get to cases like this.
Right. But then there are the cases that are absolutely real. And
Yeah.
domestic violence happens the domestic violence calls happen so often that it may
Yeah.
feel like it's not real, but there are definitely cases that are absolutely real. And there are even cases like this. Those were real victims, really had things happened. Yes, they did retract their statements later on, but it doesn't change the fact that in that moment, they were really victims. And that decision that you made to make an arrest needed to happen.
Yeah. That's all I got, Mo.
I love it. These are
All right.
awesome. I'm having
I
fun
love
going
it.
through these cases.
I love it.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, Mo.
appreciate you.
All right. Bye.